have very close friends and family members that have learning disabilities, and I've seen them struggle firsthand with just regular comprehension. Access to one version of things wasn't cutting it for them. So I know that through this project, someone who has those issues might be able to understand what we're trying to present better because we're presenting it in so many different forms.
Just feelings of shame that I still feel when I don't get text or understand it, based on the academic arguments and the ways that it's written. A lot of the references that are being made have these connotations and these underlying meanings in what people are saying. It always, felt like, there's a problem with me for not getting it. And I think a lot of times the problem is also on the author, on, the larger gatekeepers like Red Comp journals in helping authors and the reader understand things by presenting them different ways. It was just, that idea, again, related to shame, that after grad school I would have a better grasp on understanding things in our field. The biggest takeaway for Un-Rapunzeling probably has to do with just reinforcing the idea of different access types. Another big takeaway of Un-Rapunzeling is the anti-privilege undercurrent, get rid of that privilege status of a certain type of text, and the text, right, just has to be one way.
Difference between equality and equity. Easiest way to understand it is through the visual aid that we have in the infographic. It totally makes sense when it's written out on paper, but with the visual, something for me especially kind of just clicked. Like, it just made sense. I think rhetorical equity pokes holes in what we already have and shows where there's room for improvement in terms of anti-classism, anti-racism, anti-ableism, all of these other things. I think that there's definitely room to move forward.
I'm not sure about you, Tara, but if I could change one thing about this text, it would be to emphasize more the anti-privilege, anti-racist, anti-classist, anti-sexist, sort of anti-social class prejudice that rhetorical equity really emphasizes. Another change that I'd want to make would have it, be more, to have more types of rhetorical equity. Now, I know that, you can't do it all, right? It would be, impossible to design like, hundreds of texts necessarily, for something like this. But, I wish I could have done more besides, the infographic, this video, and the rap tale. I'm not sure what other things we could have done, but just, adding to the more collaboration with people of various, knowledges and skilled backgrounds in design and rhetoric, and modes of different forms of communication. I think they're going to come together, and you'll have, some people acting more like, directors or conductors, bringing together these, various people to create rhetorically equitable projects. Networks where, sort of like a LinkedIn kind of thing for Red Comp writers and Red Comp scholars, where you can, kind of plug in what you're good at and what you can do with regards to design, linguistic, multimodal communication, and then try to find other people that have maybe more varied sorts of, disciplinary expertises and come together. But I think the future holds, like, looking at equity from, different angles. Perhaps, like, how can you make equity, rhetorical equity, work with authors?
I think one of the things I would like to see done within academia and all of these journals is more of a systematic norm than just the outlier or papers that are about equity being the only ones enforcing it or paving the way for it. I think if other papers that are not on this subject start doing it, other people will follow the lead. And I also think that in academia, there's so much creativity that people have, and they don't necessarily always utilize it to the best of their ability because they're trying to fit this standard I've actually just been finishing up the TV show Smallville. It's on Hulu right now, and it's 10 seasons. I've been watching it for almost 6 months now, so I'm finally ready to be done with 10 seasons and see Clark Kent finally become Superman. What else? I watch Community a lot when I'm not having a great day. It always just finds a way to pick me up. I always try to be watching at least one form of Scooby-Doo. Currently, I'm rewatching Mystery Incorporated. It's the best one, in my opinion.
I used to binge Broadchurch and The Crown. Caught up on all those, but I will not be watching anything like that for a while because this guy right here has learned to appreciate screens and TV. And he laughs and he cries at what's happening to the characters. It's really cool, but what we've done now is we're starting to binge PBS. And the main show is Molly of Denali. Molly of Denali. And I'm pretty nostalgic for it. As you can see, I'm from Alaska. I guess you can't see it, but I'm wearing some representation. And I love watching this show just because of the nostalgia. And, it shows me a lot of the scenery and some of the things that I experienced when I was growing up in Alaska. Also, I really like how the story is taught from the point of view of Molly, who's an Alaska native. And it's really cool that, this voice and this presentation of Alaska that usually isn't heard is being presented, in storytelling.